Good morning. It's Saturday, May 8th. It's about 6:40 in the morning. I'm out here, Santa Rosa Island by Pensacola to do the Fort Pickens Trail. And good morning. This is what the other side of the camera looks like. Not a pretty picture. But I just started the Fort Pickens Trail. It's early in the morning. It's quite breezy out here, which is nice. Temperatures are cool. I'm actually wishing I would have came out here an hour earlier to get started. But looking forward to this. I've been wanting to do this trail for a while, or at least this part, because of the history. Obviously, I've mentioned I love history, and this is history going from really the Civil War and up until the 70s. They finally removed everything that was out here and opened it up to the public. But it starts here over here at a battery where powerful gun emplacements were placed to protect the harbor and the bay. And it continues all the way to the end of what is the Florida Trail's Northern Terminus. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm going to turn this around and let you see what I see. So this would have been where one of the gun emplacements would have been. I'm not sure entirely where the trail goes. I think it loops around here, but I really want to climb up to the top of this. So I have a feeling I'm going to be spending a lot of time taking pictures at first until I have had my fill. But I'm going to climb up on top of what was known as Langdon Battery. Okay, we're climbing up. The sand that makes it a little challenging. So as you're stepping up, you're also sliding back down. Would have been nice to get out here earlier, like I was saying. Enjoy the cool temperatures. Not to mention, the sunrise would have been great. So, this would have been where one of the gun emplacements would have been. And I apologize for the wind. And they actually totally covered these during World War II to protect them from bombing or shelling. So basically they were encased in concrete to protect them and then covered with dirt and rock as some sort of camouflage and additional protection. Hopefully my video is a little more stable now. I'm using a gimbal, which I said I would buy after that last video, because watching it was just atrocious to me. So I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to find out where the trail is. Okay, so I'm walking around the back of where the battery is, and I'm going to what's I guess they have a beach here called Langdon Beach, and over here there's a covered pavilion with restrooms, which I'm not sure if they're open or not, and some parking, I guess, as well. But this is the back of where the battery joins that road, Fort Pickens Road, and I'm going to continue on the trail here. As I said, this is a 5.2 mile trail that I'm going to be doing. That's round trip back to my vehicle. I've added a little bit by going up the hill there, but not much. Oh, it looks like there's a hose here if you needed to fill up. Let's go look down. Let's see what's here. So if you were doing the Florida Trail, traditionally from the south end to the north end, this is where you would be ending your trail. And it's nice as a hose here. So I guess if you need water after that long dry beach stretch, you'd appreciate that. I don't know where this trail goes, but we'll figure it out. We could probably spend hours just walking around here. Oh, so this would be the back of the battery. Oh, beautiful. And you can see, unfortunately, some people have been vandalizing. But hopefully you can see where it says Battery Langdon, 1942. You can hear the hum of some machinery in there, so something's working. A fan or something. I don't know if it's still used for storage. It could very well be. And I'm on the trail now. You can see the Florida Trail symbol on this road, which is just behind the battery and by that pavilion area. So I'm gonna walk it in. And it's the first blaze I've come across. It's a little faded, but it's the blaze. No doubt about it. So I'm on the Florida Trail. Here's the sign that shows where we're at. We're at Battery Langdon. The campground is about 0.7 ahead, and it's 2 miles to Fort Pickens and the end of the Florida Trail. If you come around to the other side, you can see the Southern Terminus is 1,298 miles away in the Big Cypress National Preserve in the end of South Florida. So 1,300-mile trail. I can only imagine what it would feel like completing that. Well, maybe one day. So after walking a little bit, I've come to what is the Blackbird Marsh Loop. It's a 0.5 mile loop, and it does have it's marked, and it has I guess an information board, so you have an idea with a map of what the trail is, where it goes, and a little explanation of the trail itself. So, but it's clearly marked, so it's pretty easy to follow. I will not be doing this trail. I'm going to go continue on my way toward Fort Pickens. And you can see there's also a marker here to let you know which way to go, so you don't get lost or confused. I keep hearing little creatures scurrying in the bush or going into the woods, but I haven't seen anything really. I guess I have to look for them probably a little better, which I'm probably oblivious. I just look ahead and I'm watching. You don't have to watch your feet so much because there's not a lot of roots to trip you, but I'm generally just staring ahead. It looks like a little mouse or something up there. Yeah, little mouse on the trail. He's moving off. But other than that, I don't see too much because I guess I don't look enough. I'm usually looking high. Aim high in my steering, as they used to say when you're learning to drive. Those of you that remember that. What is that, Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith's rules of driving. Aim high in steering. Okay, this is where the mouse was. He's probably off in the brush somewhere. Okay, I've gone perhaps maybe a mile. I've done a little more because I went up and down the Batteries hill. But I'm coming to the campground. I can clearly see a bunch of RVs up ahead. which I'd love to spend some time here too. One of my things I'd like to do in the future. And I see some tents, so this is the campground, obviously. Gonna come up to Battery Worth at about 0.3 miles and 1.2 miles. So I did probably 0.8. I guess I have to walk through the campsite. I'll try and be quiet. It's early on Saturday. Okay, Worth Battery, 0.1 mile. And Fort Pickens is now just less than a mile. Walking through the campsite was pretty brief. It's nice. See a lot of families, people enjoying themselves, all different walks of life all together in the campsite. And you see a lot of people with kids, families, a lot of dogs, a lot of older people. But they're out there enjoying life and seeing our great country. So, and now we're coming to Battery Worth. This one seems to be a little bit more cleaned up. It was a different type of battery. I'm going to see if I can climb up to it also as well. I think it's just great. Maybe I'll walk around it too as well. Increase my mileage. So you can see the structure there with obviously different sorts of stairs. Lookout would probably be posted high above. There is a parking lot here, and it looks like restrooms. I don't know if they're open due to COVID, but I could imagine as a kid coming here, could you imagine the hours spent playing here? I'm like those little kids here. It's fun to play. Just a little more reserved. Sort of. Here's another one of those. You would have had a gun emplacement most likely inside these horseshoe shapes. And that would have protected them from direct fire. Here's a whole look of the bay, and then out to the ocean. And I don't know if there's anything to see on that road there, but it looks like there's just these two half horseshoe shapes, which would have been for most likely gun emplacements. There's me. Just giving you an idea. I've done about 1.8 miles so far. That's including my little jaunt off site. So I'd love to spend more time exploring the battery. I need to keep moving to get to Fort Pickens. I'll come back and walk around it on the way back to my car. So, but definitely want to make you do a little reading up on some history and discover a little bit more about this place. There's our first view of the fort. What's left of it. We still have some guns and placed. And I believe originally this was a traditional fort that they made. It was pentagonal shaped, so it's 5 sides. And it would have guns on all sides. So it could bring a lot of firepower to bear. But it could protect both ocean and the bay. Let's take a look. So while I could spend hours here walking around the fort, I'm going to continue on my journey. And let's get to Trailhead. Okay, I walked a little bit past the fort now. I came to 2 more batteries. Battery Cullum and I think it's Sevier. Unfortunately, they're totally fenced off. And you're not allowed to go into it. As you can tell and see in here, there's a lot more people here. It is a Saturday morning, but there's a lot of people using the beach here. The road goes right here, so it's very little to no effort for you to get here. Whereas the other places I was at, I had to walk. So most people aren't doing those. There have been a couple of bike riders. Embarrassingly, I regret to say that I walked right past the final blaze and the Northern Terminus of the Florida Trail. So on the way back, I'll look for it. But I was just probably walking and I passed it. It's closer to the fort. So on my way back, I'll look for it and take a picture with it. But I'm going to keep on going to do this into this trail and then turn back. Right now it's 9 o'clock exactly. And I've walked a little over 4 miles or so. It appears I have reached the end of the Fort Pickens Trail, and there's restrooms here if you need them. There's a beach. I see a lot of people using the sites here. So across the bay, you can see a lighthouse, which is on the Navy base, I believe, and is actually closed. It's off limits. So unfortunately, we won't be able to go there. And this loops around, I guess, back to Fort Pickens. Okay, going back onto what is the Florida Trail. I'm actually going to look for the end marker. Like I said, it's embarrassing to me to admit, but I walked right past it. So supposedly it's easy to do. But I'm leaving behind the fort and all the batteries, and this area to me is more crowded. And you know, if you're looking for a little bit of solitude or to not be around crowds or people, I don't know if I would come here. You can walk around and kind of explore on your own. It's not crowded, but there are a lot of people on the beach, and there are cars and bicyclists. So if you're looking for solitude and a solitary experience, I'd go somewhere else. Okay, I'm walking up the Florida Trail. I'm wondering where this Northern Terminus marker is, because I still see blazes here. So, but it looks like, from what I could tell, it's actually further back. So I'll keep walking and see if I find it. And I have found the Northern Terminus. How embarrassing, right? You know, I'm just so busy looking where I'm going, I didn't even notice it. And who would expect the Northern Terminus to be, I thought it was at the bridge at the end, but it's actually here. It makes no sense at all to me, but I'm happy to see it. And there it is. So I'm gonna take a picture here, even though I didn't walk the whole trail. How cool is that? Got the Northern Terminus marker. Now I just need to do the other 1,298 miles of the Florida Trail. And maybe one day. Maybe I'll make a trip down to the southern marker and I'll have the bookends. Just need to do the middle. This part of the trail is very well worn with bike tracks, and I've seen about 8 bike riders already. I think obviously the fact that it's, you know, a dirt path, it's pretty easy to get onto. It's kind of secluded, you don't have to worry about traffic, and it's also very near to both a parking lot at Fort Pickens and as well as the campground and numerous other stops along this seashore. As you drive down the road, there are numerous parking lots and turnoffs where you could park a car, you know, or even come from a lot of the tourist areas, you know, get on a bike and ride down here and ride back. It's not that long of a ride for a bicycle, even if you take your time, you know, and there's some stops. So I think that lends itself to a little more use than you would normally see. This is a weekend. You know, it's not a holiday weekend, but it's a Saturday. So there's probably more people out here than usual. I imagine a weekday, there's a lot less traffic. Yeah, I walked right past that marker on the way in. I was thinking it was further down. There's a bridge right before you go to the fort, and that's where I was thinking it would be, because that really is the end of the Florida Trail. But I was wrong. Not the first time in my life, and it won't be the last. But other than that, this is a nice walking trail. Obviously, you can make it longer. I would probably even do that marsh. It's only half a mile more. If you want some solitude and maybe a good chance to see some wildlife, you know, some birds or some other, you know, wildlife. But other than this, it's really not a very remote trail. A lot of history here, a lot of stuff to see, but not exactly off the beaten path. Okay, it's coming up on 10:30 in the morning. I've just completed 8 miles of walking. I'm back by Battery Langdon. I'm coming back up to Fort Pickens Road, where my vehicle is parked. So within another quarter mile or so, I'll be done. I guess leaving my phone on to use with the gimbal has pretty much depleted it, and it's down to about 10%. So I'm going to charge it up, and I'll be making it back to my vehicle. Get back to the vehicle, and it's almost 10:30. Well, I finished my hike, and it's later in the evening. I recharged my phone. I guess from leaving my phone on pretty much the whole hike, which was just under 4 hours in length, the battery was totally depleted. It was down to 10% and shut off. So I waited till I got back here and charged up. It's later in the evening now. I had a chance to relax a little bit, and I'm going to just do a little recap. The Fort Pickens Trail is nice. It was great that it coincides with the end of the Florida Trail. I really enjoyed doing the end, the Northern Terminus of the Florida Trail. I can't believe I walked right past that marker, although in my defense, it is prior to getting to the end. So if you're looking for it to be after the bridge, it's after the wooden bridge and not the stone kind of bridge or marker that marks the beginning of the fort territory, the fort proper. So even though you see that marker, you still can walk a little bit before you see that board that ends the Florida Trail, that shows that the Florida Trail begins there. So, but it's still it is a kind of knucklehead move that I walked right past it. I have to laugh at yourself. Other than that, it was a good trail, not hard at all. I would recommend it to anyone that's just starting out, looking to do a good hike of a little distance. You know, we're talking about 5 miles or so. If you wanted to shorten it up and just do the portion that's in the, you know, kind of like the marshy area, the forest area. It doesn't get wet at all. It was dry. It is a little bit sandy at some sections, but
I never got sand in my shoes or anything like that. It wasn't hard to go, and there's obviously a lot of sights to see. So if you have kids with you, or anyone that's into history, or just, you know, they can climb up and go in some of these bunkers and things, you know, within reason, and, you know, entertain themselves as you walk along. It's a nice break. You do walk through a campground, which is kind of, you know, you're walking through where people are staying, even though it's on the road. But so you're not really far from civilization. There's always facilities around if you really need to. There was water along the trail there. There was bathrooms. They were open, which I was pleasant and good to see since COVID. A lot of stuff had been closed. It's not very remote or very secluded at all. A couple of, you know, when you first start out, like I said, there were very few people there, but as the day went on and later on, I passed a lot of people that were either bike riding or walking, you know, families together, things like that. So if you're looking to get some solitude, you're not going to get it there. So I would suggest that you probably pick a different trail. But if you're a beginner hiker, someone that's looking to do something a little longer or even shorter, anywhere from like 1.5 miles, 2 miles to 5 or even 6 or 7, you can easily do that. My total mileage was about 8.2 miles. That's including the distance that when I went into the bunkers and I took different photos. I climbed up top of the mountain. So you could obviously do less. As I say, your mileage will vary, but it was easy that you could even, you know, get dropped off and walk and have someone meet you further down with a vehicle. So that wouldn't be hard to do either. So I'm gonna go inside now and try and edit down this video to something that is coherent and not me rambling on looking at historic sites. That being said, from here, I'm in Pensacola now, obviously, and from here I'm going to be going up to Georgia, and by the time you watch this, I hopefully will have completed a hike up in Georgia in the Blue Ridge area. I'm not going to give it away yet, but that's coming, hopefully. So, hope everyone's doing well. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Feel free to leave a comment below and give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Take care. Until we meet again.